Tonight on Business Live, Cards International calls for special dispensation for subscribers who legitimately do not have their Ghana cards to register their SIM cards as extended re-registration deadline expires in 24 hours. Ahead, we'll engage Country Coordinator Kusi Adumako.
One person who has not had your card and you have made strenuous efforts, as some have done, it is painful. But we will welcome any suggestions that will help us improve either on our service delivery or the opportunity.
Also, Ghana Civil Society Cocoa Platform calls for an increase in producer price of cocoa to 838 cedis a bag for the 2022-2023 crop season. Plus, National Petroleum Authority (NPA) cautioned to take necessary measures to ensure that the second attempt to roll out cylinder recirculation policy ensures the interests of businesses are protected.
We have a lot of investment that has gone down the drain. We have a lot of employment in the sector. If government is coming up with a new policy, it's important that we take our time. We don't rush through the things and then waste money like we have done in the past.
My name is Beverly Broohm. Let's settle for the details. Now, Cards International is calling for special dispensation for subscribers who legitimately do not have their Ghana cards to register their SIM cards as the extended re-registration deadline expires in 24 hours. Now, Country Coordinator of Cards International, Kusi Adumako, joins us via Zoom for more. Hello, sir. Thank you so much for your time. The last time we engaged you on this subject matter, you called for an extension of the deadline, and the same was extended to September 30. Since scores are still yet to register, would you call for another extension?
Yes, I think the Ministry of Communication did very well by heeding to the call from Ghanaians in extending the deadline to the end of this month. And the data shows that lots of Ghanaians have taken advantage of the alternative registration platform which was created. And so if by now anyone has not registered, I think the person is either not having his or her Ghana card or the person doesn't want to register. So legitimately, there's people who have still not yet received their Ghana card. And I think for those people, special dispensation needs to be made for them. But if you have had your Ghana card and you have not registered, then that person is not willing to register. And for that reason, those people do not need any extension. That is what I would say.
But it appears some subscribers are still yet to acquire their Ghana cards. I mean, access to the Ghana card remains a major challenge. Now, Executive Secretary of the National Identification Authority, that is Professor Ken Atefua, says it is impossible for NIA to meet SIM re-registration deadline. He added that the authority will welcome any idea on how to make the system efficient.
All that is reasonably necessary and appropriate, given our financial, logistical, and technical constraints, to serve the people of this country and to do so well. So, yes, it breaks my heart to see people at our offices. It breaks my heart to hear of the corruption, the extortion of monies by NIA staff. And there is credence to that. Some of them have been arrested, prosecuted, some people have been jailed, and some have been interdicted, and all kinds of processes are going on that I say I'll share with you. It may be minuscule, the numbers may be negligible, but the fact of the matter is that some of it is happening. We have to change the whole office, the personnel in the whole office, replace them and interdict them, all of that. So there are real challenges by a small number of our people, but it is happening nonetheless. And if you are one person who has not had your card and you have made strenuous efforts, as some have done, it is painful. But we will welcome any suggestions that will help us improve either on our service delivery or the opportunities. Remember, we operate within budgetary constraints.
So, Mr. Adumako, back to you. What will you advise?
I think, like as I said earlier on, those who have not received their Ghana cards, those people, we cannot shut them from the same grade. But for those who have their card and they have not registered, they are either not serious in registering. But I want to say that, I mean, this may not be the last time we are coming to do registration. I think in future, any agency that needs to utilize Ghana card at its document for registration should, I mean, work with national NIA in terms of coming up with a workable timeline. It appears the ministry has its own timeline, which that timeline does not fit into that of the NIA. And we also need to understand the constraints in which the NIA operates. But largely, it will still be a very tough decision for the minister, especially for those who have not yet received their Ghana card.
But in less than 24 hours to go, I mean, barring any counter decisions by the NCA, do you support an outright blocking of all unregistered SIM cards?
I think this answer is not something that I can say in a binary response in terms of yes or no, because but at least earlier, somewhere last month, we proposed that if anyone has not registered his or her Ghana card, maybe we can place some limitation in terms of the number of minutes of call you can make on your phone, or the number of data that you can actually browse a day on your unregistered system. Maybe the minister can deploy that kind of limitation whilst working with NIA to ensure that all the backlog of SIM cards that have been created are given to their respective owners. And at that point, we know that majority of the people have received their Ghana card. And so if you have not registered, then you are not rather unwilling to register.
Thank you so much, Country Coordinator of CATS International, Kusi Apia Adomako, for your time. Now, away from that, the Ghana Civil Society Cocoa Platform, an independent campaign and advocacy platform for civil society actors in the cocoa sector, says it expects Cocoa Board to announce an increase in the producer price of cocoa to 838 cedis from the 660 cedis a bag for the 2022-2023 crop season. Now, according to the group, based on the working assumption of the Producer Price Review Committee of Cocoa Board, which aims at ensuring that farm gate price is pegged at a minimum of 70% of the net free on board FOB price of cocoa beans, farmers in Ghana should be receiving a minimum of 838 cedis, which translates into $98 per bag of the 62.5 kg of cocoa beans. Now, joining us via Zoom for more is the coordinator for the Ghana Civil Society Cocoa Platform, Obed Owusu. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Now, based on what computations or calculations is the Ghana Civil Society Cocoa Platform calling for an increase in producer price of cocoa to 838 cedis a bag for the 2022-2023 crop season?
My sister, good evening to all your viewers. So the Ghana Society Cocoa Platform, based on our computations and based on the current existing world market price of cocoa, we are saying that Cocoa Board needs to increase the producer price of cocoa, which translates into the farm gate price of cocoa, by a minimum of 15 to 20%. And we are saying this because, one, we know that internationally, the international market price of cocoa has dropped to almost 20-25% drop. But the reason why we are very, very insistent that the producer price still needs to increase is because the dollar to cedi equivalent has really, the dollar has appreciated against the cedi to a tune of almost 35 to 50%. And based on that, our computations and estimates indicate that if Cocoa Board really wants to protect cocoa farmers and also do good by farmers, then the minimum increment that they should be receiving shouldn't be less than 20% increments in the existing 660 Ghana cedis that they are paying currently.
But Cocoa Board has explained that, current global prices will not support an increase in the producer price. What is your response to that?
No, we concede that indeed the current producer price on the international market will not support increment. But, and this is a big but, cocoa is traded in foreign currency. Cocoa is traded in dollar and in pounds. And currently, the cedi is doing so badly against these currencies. And that if Cocoa Board and all the stakeholders, not only Cocoa Board, I must say, not only Cocoa Board, but all the stakeholders involved in setting the cocoa price are to do good by the farmers, then based on the exchange rate, farmers should be receiving an increment of not less than 20% of the current existing cocoa price. So it's based on the exchange rate, not on the international market price of cocoa.
But government through the Ministry of Food and Agriculture has made a lot of investments in the cocoa sector. For example, supplying subsidiary fertilizers and supplying free seedlings, etc. During the COVID-19 outbreak, cocoa price dropped, but the government maintained the price. Don't you think that it is time for your members to also make some sacrifices as global events take a downturn, as cocoa chocolate prices are affected? Hello, Bed.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Great. So yes, we concede. The Ghana Civil Society Cocoa Platform with our members who are farmers and farmer organizations, we do concede, and I'll be the first to admit that between 2020 and 2022, the government of Ghana has done so well by maintaining the farm gate price at 660 Ghana cedis. Yes, we also understand that Cocoa Board, through various programs, have been supporting farmers with a lot of subsidized fertilizer, spraying of cocoa farms, hand pollination, and all the programs that Cocoa Board is doing. We do concede and we applaud Cocoa Board for all those efforts. But what we are saying is that when you look at the cocoa industry now, just a few weeks ago, the Cocoa Board CEO was on TV complaining about losing cocoa farms to galamseyers. There have also been instances in the western region where cocoa farms are being lost to rubber production. There is a reason for this, and the reason is that cocoa farmers are not satisfied and they are not happy being cocoa farmers anymore. And the reason is that the cocoa price keeps dropping on the international market. Yes, let me say this and let me put this on record. We are not blaming Cocoa Board in any way for the drop in cocoa pricing. I think the chocolate industry globally needs to do more to support cocoa farmers. But be as it may, the situation right now dictates that the cost of labor for the ordinary cocoa farmer has gone up, the cost of inputs has gone up, and all because the cedi is not doing too well with these international currencies. And so based on that and that alone, we think farmers need to be protected against inflation and against the exchange rate. And on that basis, Cocoa Board and the PPRC, the Producer Price Regulatory Committee, those that set the price, needs to take into consideration the plight of cocoa farmers. The truth is that currently cocoa farmers are not even making, they are not making the cost of producing one bag of cocoa is far more than how much Cocoa Board is paying them for. And when I say Cocoa Board, maybe I need to be forgiven, but not Cocoa Board per se, but the cocoa industry. When you take a bar of chocolate, which we all enjoy, the percentage that goes to the farmer is just about 6.6%. Majority of them go to the chocolate and the retailers are out there. And right now, as I speak to you, I'm in Brussels now, and we are in conversations with the EU and discussing some of these issues. The truth is that the cocoa farmer needs to be protected, and the only way to protect the cocoa farmer is to increase the farm gate price to a level that will guarantee that he or she can provide a living income for their family.
What will be your response if the government goes ahead to maintain cocoa price and not increase it?
That would be a disaster. We think that the government, being a listening government, should listen to cocoa farmers. I mean, not too long ago, teachers were on strike, demanding for cola. There have been a lot of public outcry among workers that they need some cushion on their living allowance or their living conditions. The same applies to the cocoa farmer. The cocoa farmer is saying that the cost of producing a bag of cocoa is far more than what you are paying us. And if you continue to do that, we cannot take care of our families. UTAD and all those other worker groups, they went on strike. Maybe we as cocoa farmers and cocoa farmer organization cannot go on strike, but we will advise ourselves if government do not listen to our little demand of just about 15 to 20% increment. Currently, inflation is over 37%, but we are only asking for not more than 20% increment in the producer price. We think the government needs to listen to us. If they don't, we and our members will have a conversation and we will advise ourselves on the next step. Right now, I cannot tell you what we will do, but we will have a meeting and discuss what the way forward should be for us.
We leave it here. Obed Owusu-Adai is the co-coordinator for the Ghana Civil Society Cocoa Platform. Thank you so much for your time. You're still watching Business Live here on the Joy News channel. Still to come, National Petroleum Authority cautioned to take necessary measures to ensure that the second attempt to roll out cylinder recirculation policy ensures the interests of businesses are protected.
We have a lot of investment that has gone down the drain. We have a lot of employment in the sector. If government is coming up with a new policy, it's important that we take our time. We don't rush through the things and then waste money like we have done in the past.
Thanks for staying with us once again. The government has announced that the cylinder recirculation policy is set to kick off in parts of the country by end of the year. This comes after years after the policy was introduced as a stopgap measure following the Atomic Junction gas explosion saga in 2017. But speaking on the marketplace, Vice President of the LPG Marketers Association, Gabriel Kumi, said the NPA should take necessary measures to ensure the interests of businesses are protected in its second attempt to roll out the policy.
We are only asking government and NPA to ensure that the current players who have built the industry over the years are properly taken care of in an attempt to introduce cylinder recirculation. I did hear the NPA chief executive say that we are going to start piloting cylinder recirculation by the end of the year. I mean, that tells you that the pilots we did in 2018, 2019, 2020 didn't work. And that was when we were advising that we should take our time in implementing this policy. But we were not listened to at the time. And now we are going back to the drawing board and start the pilot all over again. We spent a lot of taxpayers' money on those pilots that we did in 2019, 2020. And if we are going to start another pilot, it means that all that we did has gone down the drain. And it's all because of the rushing nature with which we did those pilots. LPG is being sold in Ghana. We are not in a green field where there's nothing on the ground. We have a lot of investment that has gone down the drain. We have a lot of employment in the sector. If government is coming up with a new policy, it's important that we take our time. We don't rush through the things and then waste money like we have done in the past. We are only urging NPA to take the necessary measures to ensure that this time around we succeed. We have, as we've always said, we have no problem with government policy. If government thinks that is the way to go, we are not opposing government on the policy level. But then the details of the policy, how the house is where we have a problem. So, but we are very hopeful that Mustafa Hamid and his team will take the necessary, will use what has happened in the past as a guide to ensure that we don't rush through this program and do it in such a way that we are not going to waste the taxpayers' money on these things.
And that's how we end Business Live here on the Joy News channel. Do visit myjoyonline.com/business for more of our business stories. My name is Beverly Broohm. Enjoy the rest of our programs.